Hi, in this video we are gonna learn how to make a sidebar menu. This type of menu will help you if you have 5 or more sections in your app. If you have 4 or less, I would recommend a bottom navigation bar. So now let's get started. First, you need to have all your screens. For example, I have 5 sections in my app. Let's say we have orders, another for the catalog, administrators, sales report, and settings. So each of these screens have their own number. So the settings is the number 4, this is number 3, administrators is number 2, and orders number 0. So basically we have 5 sections. So once you have your design and your burger bottom, you need to activate this left navigation bar switch that you're gonna find in the layout options of your page. So you just need to activate, and you have to do this in every screen you have. As you see, you can activate, activate, activate. And now the first thing we are gonna do on these events of the screen, it's you need to put this onload event. So now we are gonna add this function that is called range iteration, and you can find this in the logic section. Let's see, it's right here, range iteration. So now we are gonna count from 0 to 5 one by one. So I'm doing some complex functions right here because we need to convert these strings to a number. So you can do this in the logic section, selecting a global formatter, and then you put 0, this is a string, and you convert to a number. Now you need to return this value in this compute callback. You do it like this. You go all the way down in the functions, and there you have the onCompute callback. So this compute callback, it's for indicate that the process it's done. So now you need to return this global formatter, this output, and now we are indicating that this is the 0, the start, and the interval. You can just copy this function of the global formatter and paste it on the interval. So now you need to put 1 because we are counting one by one, and in the compute callback it's the same. You need to return this output of the global formatter. And for the number 5 it's the same, so you can copy this function again. You see that you can copy right here, and in the end you can just paste it. I'm not gonna paste it because I already have it. So you put this origin data, this is the number 5, but it's a string and we convert into a number. And now you return in this global formatter again. And once we have this range iteration, we are going to work in the callbacks. So the first callback is the iteration. So what we're going to do in every iteration. So basically we are gonna do this save local storage data. You can find this function in the local database, save local storage data. Now you need to add a collection. I have this collection that is called side menu sections, but you can call it whatever you want. And for the identifier, it's important that you are selecting these previous outputs and this range iteration, that is basically the number that we are getting from our iteration. And now we need to add these 3 fields. Why we are adding these 3 fields? The current section, an icon, and a name. It's basically because in the sidebar menu, as you can see, we have this structure on the menu. There's a container, and in this container we have an icon and a name. So for example, in this color we are going to change it when we are in the current section, and I'm going to put like a blue, and this text could be like this other blue, which is like a 900 tone. And yeah, this will be like the indicator, but for now I'm gonna leave it just like the default style, with this gray and this white as the background. So it's important that you design this sidebar menu in form of a list. The list needs a container, and inside this container you need other container, which is a pattern, and this pattern is going to replicate because it's a list. And the list function, it's basically the add collections that we are going to see later. So now we have these three fields added on our collection. We need to do the next. In the current section, we are adding a complex function in this icon, and it's basically a conditional. So we are comparing in a complex function inside this value a, we are comparing the range iteration, which is a number of our iteration. It can be 0, it can be 1, 2, 3, or 4. So we are converting this number because, as you remember, we convert first our string into a number, and now we are converting this number into a string. So this is because we need the same type of data to be compared. So now this number is going to be a string, and we need to return in a callback. So for example, this is going to be a number, and then it's going to be a string, so we compare with the current section. For example, we are in the current section 0 that you can see on the top of your screen. So when the current section is 0, then it's gonna return a true. But if the current section is not 0, it's gonna return false. So this is saving in the local storage data. And now for the icon, we are gonna do something similar, but we have more values to compare. So in this case, we are not using the conditional. We are using a switch that you can find in these logic functions. We can see this switch. So now you just add it, and you need to add in the cases these numbers. You need to add like a text, because you can add it as a number. So you just write like 0, 1, and so on. But now I just have it, so I'm not gonna do it now. And inside these cases, we are gonna put the number. Like I have the 0, and here I have the 4, the 1, and all these cases are gonna be compared to a value. This value needs to be a complex function, because we need to format this number into a string, because the range iteration it's giving us a number, and now it's a string. Since these cases are strings, not numbers, we need to convert this number into a string. So now we do the same, which is putting this compute callback and returning from our previous outputs this global formatter. So now in the icons, we are indicating this. So now we have these functions added. We need to go to the callbacks. In the callbacks, we are going to save the name of the icons, because with the name of the icons, we can identify them on the sidebar menu. For example, the section 0, it's shopping back. And why it's shopping back? It's because, as you can see, this icon, it's from this library, which is called Feather icons. And in this part of the screen, you can just copy this text, and now you can just save it on this icon. So we are saying that the section 0 is shopping back, the 1 is list, because if we go to the icon of the catalog, we double click on it and we just copy the list. It's the same for the administrators. I just put these users, so we can just copy. For the sales report, I have this one, which is basically a pie chart. So you just copy the text, and you have to put all these names of the icons in every section. So when it's section 0, it's shopping back. When it's section 1, is list. When it's section 2, users. 3, pie chart. And 4, settings. Now we have all the icons saved. We are going to save the names of the sections. You can find the name of your section when you have it like on your screen. In my case, I have it here. Like, we can see that this is the catalog and this is the administrators. So you can save exactly the same text at here. So you just need to do this. And you can also just copy all this switch function and just paste it right here. So yeah, it's the same function, so you don't need to repeat it. We are doing the same, comparing the range iteration, which is a number, into a string, and returning in a compute callback. So the only thing that changes is the names of the sections. I'm saying that the section 0, it's called orders, the section number 1, it's called catalog, the number 2, administrators, and the 3, sales report, 4, settings. So once I saved all these 3 fields of my side menu sections collection, I can just call this finish callback. So once this function just count like 5 times, then I'm gonna call this get local storage data. This function you can found in the local database. So you just select get local storage data, and you need to click on this button to select which is the collection. Now in the callbacks of this local storage data, I'm gonna put an add collections to UI, which is the function that creates the list. So you can find it in controls and click on this add collections to UI. Now you need to retrieve the data from this output get local storage data, which is basically right here, previous outputs get local storage data. Now you need to click on modify elements and click on this chevron, and you can find this this structure of containers that we see before, and this is where you have to indicate what property have to be in every item. For example, the source name of the icon, it's gonna be icon because it's exactly the same name that we are saving in our local database. So in the text, we are going to indicate the text that is going to be name, and we have the container that is the background. So a container have some properties, but we need to modify the style background. The style background, we can send a color, and for this function we need to compare that our current section it's equal true, because if it's equals true, then we know that we are currently in that section. So we just send in a compute callback, just like here, you send the color that you want for the background of your container. In my case, I'm just sending this blue color, and when it's false, it means that we are not in that section. So we can just send a transparent color, or maybe a white color, gray color, whatever you want, but I'm gonna put this transparent color. So now in the color of the icon, you need to select the property that is called style color, because if we are in that current section, we want that icon to be a different color. So we do the same. We put this conditional on our complex function. You can find it right here. Like, you have this type of variables, that is the general, this is the controls, and this is the complex function. So you need to select this icon, and then you put this conditional from this logic conditional. And now you need to select that the current section it's equal true. Also, you can just select this context and you just write down here current section. Now if it's equals true, then it means that we are on that current section. So I'm gonna send this 900 blue color, and you can see there is palette primary 900. And if it's not equals true, it means that we are not currently on that section of the app. So we want to show this this type of gray, that is 300, and as you can see, it's send it right here. Now you can copy this same function, because we are going to use this one in the color of our text, which is going to be basically the same. You can just change the control property to the style color, and same in the complex functions, you are going to paste it, and it's going to be just like this. So you don't have to change anything, because it's going to be the same color, the blue, and if it's not the current section, it's going to be the gray. Now it's important to go to this section that is called list item functions. So when you press on this container, we can just compare which should we go. So we have these same cases that we have on the fields of our local storage. So when the value to compare it's equals 0, or equals 4, equals 1, equals 3, that it means that you are going to this specific section. So for example, when the section it's 0, you are gonna close the toggle side menu. You do it in the controls. You can find it right here, toggle side menu. And then you need the push screen, because you need to make a transition to the other screen of the section that you want. So in my case, it's catalog. You can also put this kind of transition, like fade in, slide to the top, slide to the right, and you can also indicate how fast it can go, slow, regular, or fast. And now for the section 2, we know that the section is the page of administrators. So we do the same, but we change this push screen to the administrators. When it's the section 3, we know it's the sales report, and the 4 it's the settings. So we are just making these transitions. And remember, the value to validate right here, it's a complex function inside this field that makes a global formatter that converts the item ID, and the item ID it's because this item ID contains the number of the iteration that we saved before. So this can be like a 0, a 1, 2, 3, or 4. So we are making this number into a string and returning into a compute callback. So now we have all of these functions, then it should be working. But first you need to remember that you need this switch activate on all your screens, and also you need in your burger button you need this toggle side menu that you can find it right here, and you need to put this function to be activate when they press this button in every screen. And now if you want to see how it works, we can go to our emulator and press to this burger button. And now you can see that we are on the order section, right? And if we click on this catalog, we can see now we are on the catalog, administrators. Now let's go to the sales report, and finally to the settings. Let's back again to the orders, and you see that everything it's working really well. So if you have any questions, please let me know in the comments.